So the movie starts with this guy, Seth. He's a total loner. No friends, no family, nothing. He works at the animal control department, and honestly, he's way more comfortable with the animals than with people. His whole life is just work, home, repeat. Super quiet, kind of weird dude. So one night he's on the bus, and he sees this girl. He goes right up to her and is like, "Hey, Holly!" But she has absolutely no idea who he is. He's like, "We went to high school together." But she's just drawing a complete blank. So awkward. He sees she has a diary, and he gets her to tell him she writes in it every day. Seth is instantly obsessed. He asks her out, but she's like, "Sorry, I'm a waitress and I have a boyfriend." Total shutdown. She just gets off at her stop, leaving him hanging. So what does he do? He goes home and immediately starts stalking her on social media. And yep, he finds her whole profile. This is already not good. The next day at work, he's asking the security guard, Nate, for advice. He's like, "How do you get a girl?" And Nate's just like, "Confidence, dude. You got to be confident." Then a vet calls Seth over to get this sick dog, Lexi, that Seth is super attached to. The vet is about to put the dog down because it's too sick, and he tells Seth, "You can take her if you want," but Seth knows he can't handle it, so he just has to watch the dog die, and it's really messed up. Later, he has to burn the body himself. But get this, while he's back there, he finds a secret door that leads to this hidden basement under the animal cages. He's totally shocked. Anyway, he goes home and gets right back to his Holly research. He finds out what restaurant she works at, and he starts studying her photos, writing down all her likes and dislikes in a notebook. It's next level creepy. So of course, the next day he shows up at her restaurant, she still doesn't recognize him and completely ignores him. But he still asks her to a concert. She gets totally furious and just storms away. That night, she's walking home and feels like someone's following her. Surprise, it's Seth. She freaks out, runs home, and tells her friend Claire everything. Then her boyfriend calls, but he's all wasted and talking crazy, so she just hangs up on him, super mad. Then, the next day at work, this huge bouquet of flowers shows up for her. She figures her boyfriend sent them to apologize for being a jerk, but when she talks to him that night, he's like, "Flowers? Nope, wasn't me." And you just know it was Seth.
Okay, so Holly totally figures it out. She's like, "Wait a minute, all those flowers, it was Seth." So the next time he tries to talk to her and spills the beans that he sent them, she gets super mad. And her boyfriend, he just completely loses it and baits the crap out of Seth, leaving him all bruised and bloody on the ground. But get this, later, Seth gets his hands on Holly's diary. You know, the one where she writes down all her secrets? He takes it home and just starts reading everything. And man, he finds out so much stuff about her, including this one huge secret. So the next day, this dude is on a mission. He goes down to the basement at his job. He works at animal control or something, and he starts building this massive steel cage. Then he sneaks into the clinic and steals one of those needles they use to knock animals out. And to see if it works, he injects himself with it. He's paralyzed for a minute, but it works. This guy is not messing around. That night, he's hot on Holly's trail again. He follows her to her apartment, sees she's all alone, and bam! He jabs her with the needle and she's out cold. He kidnaps her, stuffs her in a big box, and takes her back to the animal control building. His coworker, Nate, almost sees the box and gets suspicious, but Seth manages to distract him. He takes Holly down to the basement and locks her in the steel cage he built. A little while later, she wakes up and totally freaks out. She tries to break free and ends up ripping her own fingernail off. Ouch! She's screaming her head off, but with all the animal noises and being in a basement, nobody can hear her. She's just stuck there in the dark all night. The next day, Seth just goes to work like it's no biggie. He brings Holly some food and a toilet seat for, Then he gets all weird and makes her say his name because she never bothered to learn it before. After that, he just leaves her alone for like 2 or 3 days. When he finally comes back, she's fainted. He gives her some water and food and she tries to get him to stay, but he just walks out. So she's all alone again and starts imagining her friend Claire is there with her. She's so grossed out by the toilet seat Seth left, but she eventually has to use it. And then this rat shows up. At first, she's totally scared, but then something snaps and she just stomps on it and kills it. You can see she's getting really aggressive. The next time Seth shows up, Holly's like, "Are you going to kill me?" And Seth says, "No, I don't want to, but I might have to eventually." Then he tells her he fell in love with her at first sight, and he's only keeping her in a cage for her own protection. What a creep. As he's leaving the basement, Nate sees him, but Seth just lies his way out of it. Okay, so the next day, Seth comes back and he's holding her diary. He starts asking about her friend Claire, and Holly's like, "I don't know anything about her." But Seth is like, "Don't lie, I heard you talking to her down here." He's totally freaked out because he heard 2 voices coming from the cage. He asks her, "Is Claire really here?" Holly says no, but then she sees a vision of Claire standing right behind Seth. And then Seth drops the bombshell. He's like, "Claire doesn't exist. She's in your head. You're sick." He starts reading from her diary and tells her the whole story. Turns out Holly was engaged to this guy, Eric, but she found his phone and saw he was cheating on her with Claire. So she intentionally crashed the car they were all in. After the crash, he took a piece of glass and stabbed Claire in the eye, killing her. Holly tries to play it off, saying, "I'm a writer, it's all fiction." But Seth's like, "Yeah, I thought so too, so I went to the police station. He knows everything." And it gets worse. He kept following her and reading the diary, and he knows she's killed a bunch of other people. She burned some alive, strangled others. She's a legit serial killer. So Seth just lays it all out for her. He's like, "I brought you here to stop you from hurting anyone else and to protect you from the cops." And then he just turns around and leaves her there in the cage. Total mic drop.
So the next time Seth goes down to the basement, Holly is acting totally different. She's cleaning herself up. He's like, "So, about those murders," but she completely dodges the question. Instead, she just freaks out and starts smashing her own head against the steel cage until she's bleeding. He's been starving her, so she begs for food, but he says no. So then she completely changes her tune and starts playing him. She gets all sweet and is like, "I think I'm actually falling in love with you." And he totally falls for it. So he goes to get her some food. But get this, Nate, the security guard, sees him coming out of the basement again and gets suspicious. So Nate sneaks down there and finds Holly locked in the cage. She immediately starts begging him for help, like, "Get me out of here." Nate's trying to break the lock, but he can't get it open. And then bam, Seth walks in. And Holly, man, she flips the script completely. Instead of being the victim, she looks right at Seth and is like, "Kill him. Use that rock over there." And Seth actually does it. He just grabs the rock and smashes Nate's head in, kills him right there. So now Seth is a murderer too, just like her. And she's the one telling him how to get rid of the body so he doesn't get caught. She tells him to pull out all of Nate's teeth so no one can ID the body. Then, this is so messed up, he chops up the body and feeds it to the shelter dogs over the next couple of days. Of course, the cops start looking for the missing Nate, and they're totally suspicious of Seth. They're like, "We're watching you," and Seth is freaking out. So Holly starts playing with his head again. She's like, "You don't really love me. If you love me, you wouldn't keep me in a cage." Then she's like, "Prove it. Cut off your finger for me." And the dude, completely brainwashed, actually does it. He chops off his own finger. While he's in all this pain, she grabs his knife and holds it to her own throat. She threatens him, like, "Let me out of this cage right now or I'll kill myself." He panics and unlocks the door. She steps out and starts acting all sweet again, showering him with all these loving words. He thinks he's finally won her over, but the second he lets his guard down, bam! She slits his throat with the knife and runs away. Then we cut to some time later. Holly is back with her boyfriend Eric, and get this, her book got published. She's an author now. But in the final scene, she walks out of her apartment and goes to another house, and inside there's a cage. And in the cage is this filthy, messed up guy with one finger missing. It's Seth. She's got him locked up now. And that's how it ends. Total disaster.